If you've been watching the news, you can't avoid the fact that controlled media and Democratic actors are apoplectic in their efforts to unseat Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Director of Health and Human Services. In case you don't know, he's the one that's taken away all of the poisons in our food and reining in Big Pharma and the entire healthcare system, which includes unnecessary tests, and doing something finally to eliminate the third largest cause of death after heart disease and cancer. That is preventable medical errors, which a 2016 Johns Hopkins study estimated to be 250,000 deaths annually. I want to go on record that everything Kennedy is revealing I've been saying for over a decade. I'll link a video on Big Pharma, but there are others in my library. In fact, he is revealing the very reason that I walked away from a very lucrative living as a pharmacist and began supporting natural healing. That doesn't mean drinking one tea or taking a specific supplement because you are just becoming the slave of another industry that needs regulation and isn't adequately regulated, in my opinion. Dietary supplements don't have to prove with evidence that their product is safe or effective. In fact, they aren't even subject to current good manufacturing practices. So I'm saying that he's right. The system creates customers. It isn't designed to heal any chronic disease. It is all symptomatic treatment, not causative, and that's what RFK is saying they are doing. This is the first time I've seen such honesty. So today, I'm going to just repeat his opening statement because really I couldn't have said it better than he did in this speech that will go down in history. After being bashed by Democrat after Democrat with nothing but lies, he got to defend himself against the smear campaign, devised to break the deep state's hold over our health, both physical and mental. So here's the transcript of this amazing speech.
Before I summarize what we've accomplished this year at HHS, I want to express my deepest condolence to the family of Dog County Police Officer David Rose, who gave his life to stop the gunfire attack on the CDC on August 8th. Officer Rose was a veteran, he was a husband, and the father of 2 children. Officer Rose's widow, who I visited, is expecting their 3rd child. I'd like Officer Rose's family to know that he remains in our prayers and that he will continue to be in our thoughts. Let me start with the big picture on President Trump's leadership. We at HHS are enacting a once-in-a-generation shift from a sick care system to a true healthcare system that tackles the root causes of chronic disease. Chronic disease has reached crisis proportions in our country, and finally, we have an administration that is taking action. The MA report assessment, which the White House released in May, was the first government analysis of the key drivers of childhood chronic disease: ultra-processed foods, chemical exposures, physical inactivity, and over-medicalization. This month, we will follow with the MA Strat Report strategy, the Trump administration solution for addressing each cause at HHS. So we haven't just been writing reports, we've actually been the busiest, most proactive administration in HHS history. In just half a year, we've taken on food dyes, baby formula contamination, the grass loophole, fluoride in our drinking water, gas stations, heroin, electronic cigarettes, drug prices, prior authorization, information blocking, and healthcare interoperability. We are ending gain-of-function research, child mutilation, and reducing animal testing. We are addressing cell phone use in schools, excessive screen time for youth, the lack of nutrition education in our medical schools, sickle cell anemia, hepatitis C, the East Palestine chemical spill, and many, many others, and FDA. We are now on track to approve more drugs this year than any time in history. I'm also proud to say that HHS under President Trump is doing more with less. We have taken measures to fight waste, fraud, and abuse just by eliminating duplicate enrollments in CMS. We are saving taxpayers $14 billion a year. Meanwhile, we are expanding access for people who need it. So we are ending racist, diversity, equity, and inclusion practices, and instead focusing on aiding low-income and vulnerable families regardless of their race, which was actually the original intent of Title X. We are also pouring $1 billion into Head Start and the Administration for Children and Families. Compassion need not be the casualty of efficiency. I'd like to highlight some issues that, honestly, have not gotten much media attention. First, we're doing our part to fulfill the president's commitment to stop human trafficking, especially of children. We inherited a terrible humanitarian crisis from the previous administration with its open border policies, which allowed the appalling loss of 476,000 unaccompanied children. We have implemented policies now to ensure that appalling tragedy can never happen again. We have knocked on 82,000 doors and located 22,000 of those children. I promise you that we will do more in the next 3 years. We are also addressing the disastrous health conditions in tribal communities on Native American reservations. I've met face-to-face with tribal leaders and dozens of communities and tribes in Alaska, Arizona, Idaho, New Mexico, and elsewhere, and I look forward to making HHS resources more available to those communities. One of the most significant initiatives under President Trump is the Rural Health Transformation Fund, part of the president's big, beautiful bill, which will provide the greatest investment of federal money into rural health care in history. Finally, I would like to address the recent checkup at CDC. These changes were absolutely necessary adjustments to restore the agency to its role as the world gold standard public health agency with the central mission of protecting Americans from chronic and infectious disease. CDC failed that responsibility miserably during COVID when its disastrous and nonsensical policies destroyed small businesses, violated civil liberties, closed our schools, and caused generational damage. In doing so, we masked infants with no science and heightened economic inequality, and yet all these oppressive and unscientific interventions fail to do anything about the disease itself. America is the home to about 4.2% of the world's population, yet we had nearly 20% of the COVID deaths. We literally did worse than any country in the world, and the people at CDC who oversaw that process, who put masks on our children, who closed our schools, are the people who will be leaving. And that's why we need bold, confident, and creative new leadership at CDC, people who are willing and able to chart a new course. As my father once said, progress is a nice word, but change is its motivator, and change has its enemies. That's why we need new blood at CDC. That's also why it's imperative that we remove officials with conflicts of interest and, catastrophically, bad judgment and political agendas. We need unbiased, politics-free, transparent, evidence-based science in the public interest. Those are the guiding principles behind the changes at the Center for Disease Control, and that is what you can expect all across our agency for the next 3 years.